Hey everybody, Shug here, and today we're going to talk about underquilts, the insulation that hangs up underneath your hammock. Now we're going to look at half underquilts, and we're going to look at full-length down underquilts like this. The first underquilt we'll look at today is the Hudson River underquilt and top quilt. It's full length. It's made by Jack's R Better. And I've slept out here in a couple of nights in it, and it's been roughly about anywhere from 32 to 35 degrees lately, and I've been warming that. No pads inside, just the underquilt. Let's talk a little bit about how we hook it up. Alright, here's the old Hudson River laid out. Now you can see right here on the corners, there's a couple little pulls where you can cinch it up. It's got some cord, and that is very handy because one thing with underquilts is you don't want gaps and air coming in. As far as suspension goes on this underquilt, the Jacks have these Rogaine loops on the corner, and I just have some shot cord in there. This is probably 1/8 because it's probably what I had at the time. And you have one on each corner, and you'll use that to hang your underquilt onto your hammock. One thing I like to use is an S-beaner on my underquilts, and just have that on there, and I have pretty much one on both sides. That way I can just clip this end right on to my hammock suspension, and makes it a lot easier when you're in a rush. Alright then, let's take it and hook it on up. Well, I'll just often lay my quilt right in my hammock like that, and I'll take this end, find my S-beaner, and what I'll do is go right up to my suspension here, just clip that on. Now I'll come down to my other end and do the same right there. I think the biggest problem with underquilts for people, especially new users, is they have them too loose when they put them on. And it has got to be right up against you when you're sleeping, right up against your butt. In this case, on my suspension ends, I know I got to pull it really tight because I've had this on before. And also down here where it's hanging loose, I want to pull these in so it's bunched up and I'm not getting any gaps in there. And there's a lot of people that find when they put their feet, and your feet are kind of sticking right here, that this part won't stay over there. What I recommend doing, the easiest fix, is take your suspension right here and pull it as tight as you possibly can on this side. Come to the other side and maybe loosen it up a little bit. Now I'm going to try laying in the Blackbird with my feet in the footbox, and from that angle you should be able to witness what happens in this area, which is often a trouble point when it comes to hammocks. Wow, that was good. Now I'm going to zip up the mosquito net, which can make adjusting your quilt a little more difficult, because you've either got to reach out and reach over, which you can still do like that, or if you're totally lazy like I am, you kind of just sort of reach through your hammock and you just give it a little tug and just make sure it's there. Let's have a look at the Warbonnet, as you may witness it out in the field when it's bug season and the mossies are out. I find that 99% of the people that I talk to, and I know that hammock, need something underneath them, whether it's an underquilt or a pad or a wool blanket or an under blanket. You need some sort of insulation. Rule of thumb, that'll be 2 thumbs, 65, 70 degrees. Sometime in the night, if you don't have one, you're going to feel a little bit cool. Now one of the tricks is, if you go to sleep, is just to, and it's hot, let's just say it's hot, have that hammock underquilt pulled out of the way. It's just kind of bunched up off to the side. And then when you start to get cold, maybe at 2, in the morning, 3 in the morning, then you just kind of either get up or reach out underneath, pull it up underneath you. That's what a lot of people do. Here is my collection of 1/2 and 3/4 underquilts. Let's look at the Loft. That is the Warbonnet Winter Yeti. Got about 4 ounces of loft. It's got overstuff in it. That baby weighs 23 ounces. And that one has taken me to -5 with just that under me and nothing else. Next up is good old UnderQuilt. I made UnderQuilt myself. It's 14 ounces with suspension and everything. 10 ounces of down in it. And this green one here is a synthetic one that I just made. I've been goofing around with it. I've been comfortable in that to about 40 degrees so far. But for me, down packs down. Did I say down enough? Down packs down very small and light. Alright, let's delve into old UnderQuilt here. Now this is the suspension that I'll hook over the end of the hammock. Now I've got my cinches on here as well, so I can cinch it up. That's the outside, inside. The inside of this is cut a little bit smaller so that when it's up against me in the hammock, it's not compressing this down on the outside. This piece, the gray, is a lot looser. This is a little tighter. I go with what's called a channel suspension now, meaning this piece of shock cord runs through a little channel right here, and I'm able to slide it up and down. So when your hammock is hanging, you can slide it up and down the suspension. Blast off! You alright? I threw you. I got you though. Alright, let's hook old UnderQuilt up. Now on UnderQuilt I keep just an S-beaner right here on my head end. That way I know head from foot. And I'm just going to throw it up right there on my ridge line. Clip it onto my suspension. Grab the other end. Bring it down here. And what I do is, here's my hammock whipping. And because it's just going to hang like that, I often put it on and just give it an extra wrap. Like so. So what's fantastic about the channel suspension is this. Alright, I'm going to climb on in here. Talk to you a little bit about this suspension and why channel is so cool. Alright, so I get in my Blackbird, and here's the ability I have. Depending on the length of my body or where I want it, I can adjust it really nicely by sliding it up and down this channel suspension. And when I'm in my Blackbird on this one, I've got it tucked right on my shoulder, so I'm warm here. And on this side, what's very important is my feet are in the foot box, is to have my suspension line over that foot box and not under. That keeps this UnderQuilt really snug up underneath me. I can feel the warmth already, and I like it. And you can kind of tell right there in my feet, sticking out a little unprotected. Now if I were to lay in here, and there's my channel, if that was up underneath me like that, that's going to create a gap right there, I think. And I can actually feel the cool air coming in there, being 40 degrees. But, so it's really important that when you get in your hammock that you reach over the side, maybe like so, just grab that and make sure this cord is over your foot box. No matter if I'm laying with my feet this way, which I often do, I still want that cord like that. So we got the half UnderQuilt on there, which again, the reason for this is mainly for backpackers, or possibly bushwhackers, or possibly bushcrafters, or possibly bushmen, or possibly packbackers. Takes up less room in the pack. 14 ounces, a lot of warmth here. Like I say, I've had that to about 25 degrees and was good. Now, since your feet are hanging out there, unprotected, you need something under them in the hammock. A small pad is what most of us bring. Something like a piece of pad like this. That's your 1/4 inch gossamer gear type pad. I know you're going to ask me the dimensions of it, so I'm going to tell you. 24 inches long, 22 inches here, 15 inches there. Just whatever you feel will be good to be under your feet. Now, I don't get too cold on the back of my legs, but if I were to have that up under my feet, I might have a small gap there. I don't feel it. This is my go-to pad. I blow it up very slightly. It's a Thermarest sit pad, and I put that inside the foot box of my top quilt or sleeping bag, and my feet just sit on that. My heels are on it. I like it because I can bunch it up between my feet, and it's very comfortable. It's small. I usually bring that, and I have a small piece of Reflectix. I use it as a sit pad when I stop and take a break a lot of times. Just use it to sit on. All right, let's grab our pads here and have a looky-see how these will fit inside the hammock with the half underquilt, with the top quilt in there. Now, it seems to be that most people would use some sort of pad like this. You would lay that underneath you in your foot area, just to make sure that your feet have some insulation up underneath them. Now, the next option is to do something like I do. What I do, I'm going to flip it over, take my top quilt, and I will slide my sit pad into the foot box. It's already in there, and remember, I do that because it's less condensation. And then I may, in really cold weather, have this piece of Reflectix, which is a multi-use piece, just floating around in there. I can have it up under my back. If not, I can just throw it right there. All right, everybody. So a couple of final thoughts on all of this. Number one, always make sure that your underquilt is up tight against you. So do not be afraid to tighten up your suspension. 2, half underquilt, have something under your feet. Some people use it their empty pack if they're really gram weenies. Go with a full length underquilt. It's a little more hassle-free. A lot of people really love it. One final thought is it took me a long time to trust an underquilt because I was a guy that slept with pads, and there's nothing wrong with pads. If that's all you've got right now, just go camping. Use a pad. I don't care if it's a foam pad or a blow-up pad. Just use it. Get used to it inside of your hammock. It's not the best, but it totally works. But once you've gone underquilt, you'll never go back. I mean, if you're a serious hanger, you might want to invest in one because of the warmth. You still get the comfort of the hammock. And I got to tell you right now, I'm kind of tired of talking to you guys after getting sort of comfortable in here. So I will do my final tuck. Get myself tucked in, reach out, check my underquilt, and good night, Irene. Or Ethel, or Lucy, or Sally, or Mary, or Matilda, or Jennifer, Tiffany, I don't know, maybe Pam, Cindy, Mag, Cordelia, Esther. Woo, buddy! Whoa. And now for all of you fans of Sling Blade, prepare as Shug, the man that talks about himself in third person, brings you Sling Blade Theater. Hi, Dan. What's in your bag?
Listen, that. Toothpaste and whatnot.
What's all them books?
Different ones. One of them's a Bible.
You believe in the Bible, do you, Carl?
Yes, sir, a good deal of it. I can't understand all of it.
Well, I'm getting none of it. That one begats this one begats that one, beget, lo and behold, somebody says some stuff. Just how stupid are you? To use in a lockup for cutting someone up with a hatchet or something.
I ain't never used no hatchet that I remember.
I don't care if you did do violence on someone. You don't scare me. I ain't scared of nothing. You just a humped over goofball anyway. Scared of you. I just kid you. Welcome to our humble home. You see, I need all the friends I can get. I got a construction company. Nobody knows the responsibility. My name is on that truck, Doyle Hargrave. Linda! God! Don't talk about my daddy.